have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up.
The difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision, he has knowledge, he has judgment, he has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks ago, but he seemed fine.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the president.
So breaking news as of yesterday, directly from Biden's team, is that the former president has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer, and the outlook is looking pretty grim. Now, as with most people that share this kind of information, they are met with concern and well wishes for their family, because that is a normal way to respond to these kinds of things. But of course, there were unhinged responses by the party of love and tolerance, saying that they were sad that the cancer hit the wrong president. And while news of cancer is always sad to hear about, this seems to be just one more revelation by the left that has us asking far more questions than receiving answers. Because if we have learned anything about Democrats over the last few years, it's that when they share new information, it's not because it's actually new, but because, one, they can't hide it anymore, and two, because there is some kind of political benefit to revealing it at that specific time, or something that they are trying to distract from. But it is never because they did not know, even though that is the script that they approve of to give to the media to share and to repeat. But they know every single time. They knew it, they know it. And because 9 times out of 10, it's easy to prove that they knew it, it also continues to expose how stupid they think we are and how they truly rely on people being dumb and not doing research to keep anybody believing anything that they say. So we're going to get into how this announcement was made, how the news broke, what the immediate response was, and then the flood of questions that came as it quickly sunk in that there is far more going on here than what we're being told, as usual with everything that involves the media. But before we dive in, I am Outspoken Samantha, and I would love it if you would hit the thumbs up button on this video and subscribe to my channel while you're here. I am trying to grow this channel, and I truly appreciate your help in doing both of those things. So first, this was the announcement that came out yesterday directly from the personal office of former President Joe Biden. The statement says, last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. Could have done without that information, but okay. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastases to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. So we're being told that this nodule was a new finding after he was having problems with his pee, and this diagnosis came on Friday. They discovered that it was aggressive with a Gleason score of 9 and that it had metastasized to the bone all in one day. Got it. First, as I said, we had people responding with their sympathies and their prayers. This was a post from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. It says, "I'm sorry to see this news. Cancer is truly awful. My dad passed away in 2021 with cancer. Prayers for Joe Biden and his family." This was another one from Drew Holden. It says, "I know how scary it is to hear that you have cancer. I pray for Joe Biden, not just for his health, but for his and his family's ability to process the news. But that sympathy can't prevent public scrutiny about who knew what and when." And my question is, are you really praying for this man? Like, really? I mean, I don't wish harm on him. I'm not sitting around wishing bad things on him. But I can tell you right now, when I'm talking to God at the end of the day, I use none of those words for the Biden family. And you can pray for him if you want to, no judgment here. But sometimes I think people put words out there just for the sake of showing the world how much we are not the left, but not because it's something that they're actually doing, thinking, feeling, or saying. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm just being honest with you guys. But anyway, about how the Biden family is processing the news, the question is, how long have they had to process it? This is a post from Dr. Stephen Quay. It says, prostate cancer is the easiest cancer to diagnose when it first starts and to watch it progress to bone metastases. The PSA blood test shows the rate of cancer cell growth. For even with the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it becomes metastatic, meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed with metastatic disease in May 2025. It is highly likely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure, and the American people were uninformed.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
You're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
I've just got to keep throwing those little clips in there. But it's not only Dr. Quay who is saying this. This is Dr. Zeke Emanuel on CNN talking about how there is no way that this diagnosis just came out within the last couple of months since Joe left the White House.
You believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
Of course, there are always going to be people that are in denial and are going to make excuses for this, as they did over the last several years when we said, hey, Biden is not mentally fit to be running the presidency. So when I posted my thoughts about this on a YouTube short and on TikTok, of course, people in the comments were saying, well, cancer diagnoses are missed all the time. Sorry if I mispronounced that word. Yeah, they are, but we are talking about the president of the United States. They go through regular checkups and exams and testing. They are seen by the best doctors in the world. There is a different standard of medical screening that they have to meet than what the rest of us experience. So that excuse does not hold up.
Question I was going to ask you. This is a former president of the United States. He's supposed to be getting, as you say, the best medical care in the world. And yet, just a few months after he leaves office, this prostate cancer is advanced enough that it has metastasized to the bone. That's just not good.
And there are even people speculating that Biden himself told us a while ago that he had cancer. I mean, we're all familiar with the countless gaffes that come out of this man, but I think the biggest headache to the media and his own team was the fact that his mental cognitive decline made it so that this filter was non-existent, and he kept saying things that he was not supposed to say.
The first frost, you know what was happening. It had to put on their windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer, and why can't for the longest time Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
So I think at this point, anyone who has an IQ above like 42 is going to recognize that this was more than likely just another cover-up by the Biden administration, by the Democrat media, and worst of all, by Joe Biden's wife, Dr. Jill Biden. I just don't think that it can ever be overstated how evil this woman is. We all knew that Biden's cognitive decline was severe years ago. Well, Democrats tried to say it was all a surprise to them last July, and they realized that they just had to do the right thing and let this elderly man rest at home in his slippers while eating ice cream cones. It was not a surprise. They all knew it from the beginning and actively worked to hide it, managing his schedule, protecting him from negative news stories, having his wife take over as much as possible, and passing off tasks that the president should be doing, but for other people to handle around him. It's all been reported. Yet, just a couple of weeks ago, these two still went on The View and still said reports of his poor health were a lie, and it was information coming from unreliable sources.
Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out deeply sourced from Democratic sources that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities in the final year of your presidency. What is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that.
Alyssa, you know, one of the things I think is that the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us, and they didn't see how hard Joe worked every single day. I mean, he'd get up, he'd put in a full day, and then at night I'd be in bed, you know, reading my book, and he was still on the phone reading his briefings, working with staff. I mean, it was nonstop.
So the question is, why now? They can't hide it anymore? Because if he suddenly drops dead, people are going to notice. So now they have to put it out there. So when he's gone, it's not that big of a shock. Maybe. There is speculation that it's because Jake Tapper's book is about to be released. It's called The Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. And it is going to expose everything that went on behind the scenes and the extreme measures that were taken to hide the true state of this man's health from the public. In this post, it says, why release Joe Biden's surprise cancer diagnosis now? The tape of his secret documents interview was leaked last week, and a book on the White House dementia cover-up is out this week. But all they've done is reveal they've also lied about his cancer. It says David Axelrod, the longtime Democratic operative and former Barack Obama advisor, said on CNN minutes after the diagnosis was revealed that conversations about Biden's mental acuity, quote, should be more muted and set aside for now as he's struggling through this, end quote. Biden aides have been bracing for the Tuesday release of a new book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again, chronicling what the authors describe as a White House campaign to cover up Biden's deteriorating condition while in office. And I guess that makes sense to me, but drop it in the comments below. Why do you think that the Democrats have decided that now it's time to share this information that they have absolutely known about for at least 5 years? This whole thing is wild to me. But lastly, on this whole topic, I want to point out the absolute hypocrisy from the left, again, because they have no standards that are not double standards. You guys are absolutely not ready for this.
Does MAGA have anything else better to do with their time and their energy than to sit here and constantly hate? You guys sitting here talking crap about Joe, sitting there saying that he lied throughout his whole president term. The man's getting old. That's what happens when you get old. I mean, it's common sense. Coming from the party that speaks common sense, but yet have none. Like, we all seen that Biden was declining towards the end there. And it's really sad because I seen that and it broke my heart. For you guys, you just want to choose to talk crap about it and go, oh, they lied to us. Okay, maybe they did. But your man, 47, has been lying the whole entire time also. He's not the one running the show. It's the people behind Project 2025 that are running the show. Just leave Joe alone. He's getting old. Grow up.
So much projection, so much gaslighting. Some of the comments say they're saying anything to deflect from Trump. The guy is dying from cancer and they're still blaming him. Nope, that's their entire purpose. That's what they survive on. Sad. Another comment says, no, the answer is no, they have nothing better to do. To answer your question, yes, I have better things to do than hate on Joe Biden. But to be clear, my anger isn't just at Joe Biden. In fact, I think only a small part of it is. I'm more angry at Jill Biden. This woman is a soulless leech who was sucking the life out of her husband just to gain power and wealth for herself. My anger is at the media and the enormous cover-up that they clearly engaged in for years. Again, by calling us the liars for pointing out the very clear fact that this man was unfit to run the country and only being used as a puppet, while people that we did not elect were doing his job for him. And we constantly get blamed for being the problem when we're just pointing out the truth. And then when the truth comes out, we get blamed again for saying, we told you so. And then on top of that, after we had to watch you guys cheer for our current president almost getting murdered on TV and talking for weeks about how you were sad that the guy missed, that now you jump on social media and tell us that we have to leave Joe alone. The double standards and the constant hypocrisy and the gaslighting is astounding. But back to the point. The media knew, Jill knew, Hunter knew, the freaking Easter Bunny that kept Joe from wandering off, he knew. Yet the media keeps lying about him and they keep lying about Trump. All they do is lie. And people who still support the left, as small in number as they might be, because their approval rating keeps getting lower and stuff like this just pushes it further down because smart people are waking up. But the few who are still so dense as to keep trying to tell us that we're the problem, that's what's maddening. So no, you don't get to tell us how to respond. And as far as whether or not I am praying for this man, no. No, I'm not. Yes, I have sympathy for having a family member or someone close to you diagnosed with an awful disease. Yes, I have empathy because I have been through this with family members and people close to me in my life as well. On a human level, I feel sad when I hear news like this, and I do not wish harm on this man or his family, unlike the Democrats who constantly wish harm on Trump and his supporters. But as far as if I'm sending prayers his way, no, I'm not. And I'm not going to lie and say that I am. I'm praying for the people who are suffering because of this family, because of the policies of the Democrats and the Biden administration. I'm praying for the families who lost their military family members during the disastrous exit from Afghanistan. I'm praying for the countless families that have lost family members due to fentanyl because it was allowed to flood over our southern border over the last few years. Praying for the American citizens and the immigrants who were tortured, trafficked, and murdered because violent gang members and cartels were empowered by the Biden administration. I'm praying for people who could not afford to eat or afford the cost of living because of skyrocketing prices and inflation. They are the people who I am praying for. It sounds to me like Biden is getting ready to meet Jesus and he can just ask for thoughts and prayers directly from him. Anyway, that is all I have for you in this one. Please, again, be sure to hit the thumbs up button on this video and subscribe to my channel. If you're looking for other ways to support my channel, there is the Buy Me a Coffee link in the pinned comment below, and there are other ways to support my channel in the description box below as well. Other than that, keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.